This is Bluesview. Coming up, Colin Tattum reflects on transfer window disappointment. We look ahead to the derby battle with Wolves, and Blues boss Alex McLeish looks back at a well-earned point against Spurs. Hello and welcome to Bluesview. I'm Andy Walker, and as ever today we're joined in our Fort Dunlop studios by our man at the Blues, Colin Tattum. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you.
Well, the trophy signing didn't materialise in the end.
No, it didn't. I think it was always difficult to actually bring in the so-called trophy signing. I mean, what is a trophy signing? Is it a player that improves your squad, or is it a superstar? So I think that was part of the problem by the very fact that this phrase trophy signing was bandied about. It didn't help Birmingham City's cause. And the problem was as well, they did put bids in for certain players. For whatever reason, bids were rejected. In Pavlyuchenko's case, Birmingham put in what they felt was the price Tottenham were after. Then Tottenham changed the goalposts and they wanted more. I have some sympathy for them in that respect. And on other targets as well, Alex McLeish felt he couldn't go down the road of mortgaging the club by spending too much too quickly on a certain player like Dindan, for example. And so obviously when the dust settled, Birmingham didn't bring in a striker. And as for this, as you say, the trophy signing, I think, and I've always said this, that I think that sort of player is more likely in the summer, where Birmingham have more time to reflect, probably have more spending power, and the market won't be as inflated as it has been in this January window either.
And now it's time to go on to your questions for Colin, because as ever we've been inundated by your emails, and on this occasion they've been pretty much dominated by the subject of the transfer window. First up here, Colin, is Blue Sky, who has used a bit of a car analogy to compare things about this trophy signing. He said, why say you're going to buy a Ferrari when you can't afford the petrol? And he goes on to add that maybe Blue should have lowered their sights.
I think if you want to progress as a club, you've got to go for the Ferrari. You've got to target that type of player. Because if you just go for a reliant Robin, where you're going to end up? You're not going to end up any further forward. So I understand that, for the club to move on, to progress, to get better, you have to go for quality, even though it is tough to bring in that sort of quality.
And next up is Francis Latchford Hatton, who has highlighted the fact that 6 players even went out the exit door and only 2 arrived. And he's worried that, well, obviously the squad has been thinned.
Mm-hmm. There is a lack of depth there, and it is a very good point. The counter argument to that is the management obviously believe they can sustain losing those players, and most of them were not regulars when it's all said and done as well. But it is not so much a risk, but it is a little bit of a gamble, because if Birmingham do tail off, if they do get injuries, then there's not that much backup to call upon, especially in the striking areas if another 1 or 2 strikers go down with injury.
Well, the transfer window is slammed shut now, so there's no more talking about that, and we're instead looking ahead to Sunday's game, which is Wolves at St Andrews. And surely just by comparing both sides' current positions just highlights how far Blues have progressed this season, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Last season, as you touched upon there, Wolves, in most people's eyes, were the best team in the Championship, ran away with it, played great football. Birmingham with the Luddites, grounded out, lucky to get up, etc., etc. But you look now, shrewd management, good signings, good players, quality football has got Birmingham into 8th, and Wolves, for a team that was free-flowing last season and goals were coming from anywhere, just can't score, and they're embroiled in a real relegation battle. And it's testament to the work that Alex McLeish did and the way the club has attacked the challenge of being newly promoted into the Premier League.
Well, on the subject of Alex McLeish and his handiwork, we caught up with the Blues boss following that 1-1 draw with Spurs on Saturday.
Well, I thought we lacked a wee bit of quality today, and maybe we looked a little bit one-paced, if I'm honest. And listen, let's not beat about the bush. Spurs are a great side and pass it about brilliantly. They have great players. There's a massive disparity between us, their squad and our squad, in financial terms as well. So that was a marvellous result on a not very fantastic performance from us. Yeah, whether he's a little bit uptight because he carved out a fantastic chance for himself in the first half, a great turn on the big defender. Maybe he should have just put his laces through it. He tried to place it, and in the end it was a powder puff shot for the goalkeeper. We said to him at half time, get your laces through it. But The wee man brings us something, there's no doubt about it, he's dangerous, and if we can get more balls to him in the box, if we're on the ascendancy in a game and we have the opposition in their own box, I think that's where he's really, really dangerous and where he comes alive.
Well, Colin, we heard off Alex McLeish there. You were at St Andrews on Saturday, and it appears that the bubble hadn't actually burst following that defeat to Chelsea.
Absolutely. It was a very important result for Birmingham because, as you alluded to there, Andy, that had they lost on the back of the Chelsea reverse, people would have started to ask questions and made out that they were on the slide and they were going to do a Hull. But they didn't. They didn't play particularly well, but they did what they're good at. They kept going to the end and they ground out what was a deserved point.
Thanks for joining us today, Colin. And thanks for watching. As I said earlier, it's Wolves up next for Blues, and we'll be back the same time next week. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.